We live.
What's going on, peoples?
So we're gonna kind of do something a little different. We normally um, posting a lot on our, well, not a lot. We did a couple videos on our YouTube channel, and we kind of had the idea of just doing like a live video of like inspirational type things, because you never know what other people are going through. So it's always good to follow your heart and do things because something may be for somebody. Right, babe?
That's right. Absolutely.
So we outside, y'all, walking while the kids in the house. So instead of being in there while they loud, we stepped outside to talk just for a minute. Hey, Sherm.
What's going on? So what
We,
topic we gonna go with right now?
so the topic that we're gonna discuss today is faith, having faith through any situation, kind of just more so encouragement about faith. So go ahead, babe.
All right. So, we're talking about faith. Faith is one of those things where I think that a lot of people, even for people who say they don't believe in God or just don't believe in anything, people don't realize that they practice faith every day, and it's one of those things where um, where it faith just takes you to another level to where it's I don't know. It just takes to another level to where you're believing in something that's not there, but then at the same time, um, something still manifests, something happens. And a lot of times, we like we said, don't panic, just have faith. Is because a lot of times, faith is what will lead you to the to really, like, I guess, that next level in God, to who can really have that relationship that you want to have in God and with God, and also take it to the place in your relationships, whether if it be like a friendship relationship, it can be on your job, it can be just through your everyday living, and I don't know, it faith really, like, it tries you and it tests you sometimes, because it's like sometimes you just really don't know, like, when you don't really know, like, when something's gonna happen. It's like, man, like, what's going on? I don't know, like, how I'm gonna make it. I don't know how I'm gonna do this. I don't know how I'm gonna pay this. I don't know how I'm gonna, and it's really like your faith. But with faith comes actions. So you just can't say that you believe in something, but you're not putting forth the work or the effort to actually go try to obtain it. And that's one of the reasons why you always gotta always make sure you put an action behind everything that you do when it comes to faith. Because again, like I say, faith without works is dead, and works means by you actually having to do something so that way things can be able to manifest. Because if you just say, okay, God, I'm trusting and believing that you gonna make a way for this light bill, but then you ain't working to go get no money. How you think God really gonna do something if you ain't trying to work to actually to try to get money so that way he can be able to bless you? So you can't say that you have faith, but then you're not putting forth the action behind it to present to God and say, listen, God, like, this is what I'm doing. I'm showing you, like, I'm doing these things. I'm being obedient, because at the end of the day, like, I just can't sit on my behind and then still say I believe in you but not doing anything. So we have to understand that without actions, faith is dead. To be totally honest, faith is dead without actions. So you have to make sure that you are putting forth the actions behind what you're doing, um, and more so just, again, just working at it, working. I can't tell you how many times, where I've seen, and even myself, where I just felt like, I didn't know that certain things were going to happen. I didn't know how I was going to make it and things of that nature. But at the same time, it was just like, it was real, like, my faith and persistence and my diligence, within God, to be like, man, like, I don't know how this happened, but now looking back at it, I know it was just through perseverance and just being obedient to God's word that actually allowed me to get through. So again, just make sure that your actions line up. Your actions are, you're putting forth actions behind it, because if not,
And like my take on having faith is just allowing yourself to have that patience. That patience is very key when it comes to having faith, because you can say that you have faith, but then you go to rushing God. So it's like you have to, once you have that faith, you want to make sure that you're in the meantime, while God is trying to work it out for you in a situation, that you're making sure that you're praying, you're fasting, you're, just putting your mindset to that is going to happen. Because if you can't say that you're having faith, but you still having doubt. Doubt and faith doesn't go together. So you can't say, okay, God, I trust you, and I trust that, and I have faith that you're going to bring me out of this situation, or you're going to get me through this situation, but then you're not allowing God to be him. So you and God can't work together. So y'all both can't work together because God don't need no help. So that's definitely my perspective of having faith is I get very impatient at times, and I've learned through numerous situations that just can't happen. Like, you got to make sure that you're patient. Once you pray, leave it alone. God got it. Anything else, babe?
And then look, we got a question right here.
Is it possible to have faith but still doubt? Does that mean you don't have faith? Asking for someone that might be scared to ask. So having faith, when you have faith, it doesn't mean that you sometimes won't doubt. It's not good to doubt God, but it doesn't mean that when you're doubting, you don't have faith. That comes into play when, having patience, because you're praying about something, but then you're like, okay, well, God, I prayed about this a month ago, and okay, maybe he didn't hear me. So necessarily, to answer your question, it doesn't mean that you're not having faith, but it depends on, like, what am I trying to say?
I would say you never want to allow your doubt to overcome your faith in God. So don't allow the doubt that you have sometimes, and again, like it goes along with being impatient, because a lot of times, you may think that something may be too big for God to handle, and now I've seen instances where, like, I've seen where people have had tremendous amount of faith, and it was something so big that they actually made it through. And it's because, again, they just, even through, because so a lot of times you may doubt in the beginning, because you're just like, I don't really think God gonna be able to make this happen, like, because you may not have experience, you may not have experience a lot of what, a lot of people talk about as far as like their own personal experience with God. You may not have experienced that for yourself. So initially you may have that little bit of doubt, but it's your faith that carries you over to say, you know what, God, I may be doubting right now, but right now going forward, I'm going to have this faith right now to know that you will make a way and you will make it through. And as a prime example, even myself, like, I speak on this a lot, and it's something that means a whole lot to me, because whenever I talk to like friends, or I hear people, especially men, this is to the men, when I hear men, say that it's so hard for them to find a job, and it's crazy we talking about this, because this idea that she came out of nowhere, and I was thinking about something, but I'm about to share right now, a little minute ago, early today, and it was more so talking about, like, a lot of times, like, with guys who are felons, a lot of times you title yourself as that's when our daughter, she in there already, but you will title yourself as being a felon, and a lot of times that's what the world titles you as. But when you have moved to a next level in God, you don't want to title yourself as what the world titles you as. You can say, like, yeah, I have a felony, but God can actually get me through this. And as somebody who's actually been down that road, somebody who's actually experienced going to jail, somebody who actually has that on their background, I'm somebody who is a living witness to us, to know that, like, it really took a lot of, like, being on fire for God, being sold out, being, true to his word, to get me to where I'm at right now. My last job, not where I'm at right now, my last job, I was unemployed before my last job for about 1.5 years, and my daughter at the time, my oldest daughter, Leah, she was probably about, she wasn't even 2 yet. I wasn't seeing her as much as I wanted to. I didn't have no job. I couldn't find work because of what was on my record, and I had been applying to jobs. Everybody telling me, well, you want, I want a part of that job. You probably can't get this. You can't get that. You probably need to go into construction. You need to go into that. And I'm just like, man, listen, I'm just going to apply for anything that come my way. And if it happens, it happens. If it don't, it don't. If it's for me, got to make a way. And one day I get an email from some company, which is like, hey, we looked at your resume. We want to talk to you. So I'm like, okay, whatever. I called a lady from my sister-in-law at the time. I called her from her phone, and I was like, hey, I need to call this company. They've been emailing me, trying to call me. I didn't have a phone of my own. So I called recruiter. Recruiter said, hey, I like your resume. I want to bring you in. Me, not even knowing what the company is, I'm just like, God, I'm just trusting you. I'm finna go. I just want to work. Like, I want to be able to provide for my child. I want to be able to give back to you. So allow me to just go and just see what it's about. I researched the company. Did a group interview, and I'm just like, and there are people who, full suits on, people who have been in this industry for 10 plus years, and I'm just like, I'm nervous, but at the same time, I'm like, listen, all I can do is just, do what God put in me when I did all my research and stuff like that. So I go in there, so I'm like, okay, I do the group interview. Later on that day, the recruiter called me. She said, how you think you did? I'm like, I feel like I did fine, feel like I did really good. I was kind of nervous, but she said, well, they want to bring you back for another interview. So I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I'm thinking I'm about to get an offer. I'm like, get good, because I've never been like in corporate America at that time. I go back in, I talked to one of the directors, and he was like, hey man, you did an awesome job. He was like, looking at your resume, I don't usually hire people who don't have like experience, but like the questions that you asked was like beyond the questions that we've ever experienced from other candidates. He was like, so how much are you looking for? I kid you not, because I had never made double figures, meaning like I never made either $10 or more an hour. So I was like, I just want anything. Like, you can give me $9 an hour. And he just laughed. He was like, $9 an hour? I said, man, this corporate America, like, you gotta give me like a salary range, and I've never heard of that. So I was like, I don't know. So this man said, don't worry about it. I'm just writing number down. He wrote on the paper. I told him 9. He wrote on the paper, $19 an hour, and I was so blowed. So after that, they were like, okay, now we got to go through the background check. And this is the part that kills a lot of people, especially young men or just men in general, is the background check. At the end of the day, if you really say that you believe in God, just be honest with yourself. Just be honest with them and just say that, and just say what it is. Because again, if that's something that God wants you to have, you will have it. And on the paper, I literally wrote on there, like, this is what I did. When my God brother, I said, hey, I need you to pray with me right now. Because at the end of the day, like, I don't want to doubt God when I'm writing on this paper right now. I don't want to doubt God when I submit this. So I need you to pray for me, and we're gonna go from there. We prayed about it. My original start date got the background didn't come back in time, so my original start date got pushed back. So I'm just calling, checking in, like, hey, just want to call in and see, what's going on, what's the progress. And they're like, hey, we're still waiting for the background check, but don't worry. I'm so sorry it's taking so long. Pretty much, long story short, at the end of it all, I ended up getting a call back, and they were like, listen, Mr. King, everything came back fine, everything came back clear, you are good to start on whatever start that they gave me. And they started me at like $18.36. So I got double than what I asked for. Originally. And again, like, and I mean, like, I just cried. Like, I cried because it was just like, God, like, I'm so undeserving, like, but you see me worthy to go through this and to be able to have a job like this. And even like with that now, from that job to where I'm at right now, like, it was an easy transition from going to that job to where I'm at right now. And it goes to show, like, when people ask me, and if they'll ask me, do they hire fellas, do they hire this, like, they hire me. So all I can tell you is that, yeah, they must hire fellas. They hire me, and it's not really the felon part. It's more so like, yes, I have a felony, but my past don't dictate where I'm going right now. And
yes, I like that.
So I always tell so many people that it's like, because again, they settle for like lower level jobs when God has so much greater for them right now, especially these men out here. And it's like, there's so much greater for you out here right now that you can obtain. But again, it's like, don't allow the system, don't allow people to dictate how far that you can go, because God has so much greater for you. But again, it's with that faith that will carry you. But until you tap into that, you will be at that mid range. And again, like, not saying that it's wrong, because again, you still provide for your family. What I'm saying is that God has so much greater for you that you can obtain. But sometimes we allow situations and circumstances to bottle us down, to tell us that we can't get this, we can't have that. And I'm here to tell you, like, I'm somebody that has been through that. I'm somebody that still goes through certain things right now. But again, you would not know. A lot of people don't know these things that I'm telling you right now. People just see like, oh my goodness, like you're so good, Mr. King, got your job, you doing this, you lecture line for management, but they don't know like what I went through. I'm not saying what I had to go through because I made those decisions, but these are the things that God took me through to get me to where I'm at right now, and I'm still being molded. So please understand that having that faith can really carry you a long way, can really take you to that next level, and really get the things that all these things you hear people talk about as far as like what God has done for them. Don't think they haven't been through things. These people have really been through some things, and you're just seeing the glory of God, but don't really know the story of what God took them through. So understand, like, listen, faith is really big. Faith is not, it don't come in a microwave. It don't happen just press 30 seconds and then something just happened. It takes time. Sometimes it can happen instantly. Sometimes it can't. But you got to understand, you want to make sure you have that patience. You want to make sure that you are diligent in everything that you're doing, and also just persevere, while having that faith. Because again, I always tell people, faith is not a microwave blessing. It ain't like no hot pocket you just put in there and then poof, you're just gonna get something. It's not. It don't happen like that. It's something that you will go through the fire. You will go through some things, because a lot of times the things that we go through are things that we went through in our past, that we've done in our past. So now at this point, it's like, well, I'm just reaping what I sow. But again, there are still greater things that God has in line for you. But you just gotta understand that you will go through the fire. But again, when things go through fire, it comes out. So it comes out a whole lot greater as a finishing product.
Yes, and that's the type of God we serve, because there's no limits to what God can do. So that's why we wanted to speak on faith, because faith is like one of the gray areas to where, people are wondering or just having so much doubt to get through situations. Like we put limits on our God, and there is no limits whatsoever. Like God can blow your mind. He blow our mind every day, just within our marriage, beyond our marriage. He's just blowing our minds. So we just wanted to speak on faith tonight. Thank you guys for watching King Story.
Hey,
Love
y'all. Appreciate it.
Bye.